been waiting for this.
You are now listening to Digital Suplex Radio.
All right, y'all, it's Digital Suplex Radio, back with another guest. We have none other than Eric Eznite. Eric, how you doing?
I'm good.
That's what's up. Hey, you know what? I was gonna say, like, oh man, is it Eric Eznite? Eric Eznite? You know what I mean? I didn't know which one to go with.
You got it right first, Eznite. Everyone always wants to say Eznite or Easy Night, but it's Eznite. You got it right.
Eznite, cool. Yeah, I did a little research, did a little digging through your profile, so I found a couple cool things that I wanted to talk about. First off, I just wanted to ask, did you work out today?
I was just working out like 10 minutes ago. That's why I was like, all right, can we start like 10 minutes later?
Yeah,
that's what I was doing.
I understand, because it says that you were a personal fitness trainer.
Yes, sir.
How'd you get into that?
That's actually a really long story, but we got the time. So high school, I played a couple sports, played soccer, I ran cross country, track. So I was always in sports, not like super like hand-eye coordinated. Anyways, that would come later when I got into like weightlifting. So senior year, I really got into weightlifting, and I really became passionate about it. And that was actually right around the same time. I was like, okay, I had this plan to be a graphic designer, but I'm like, you know what, let's do this wrestling thing. And then basically my mom was like, if you're going to do the wrestling thing, you should also, have something to support that. You should have, almost like a backup plan, but in a way it's not, because I'm really passionate about it. I was really passionate about weightlifting. So my mom was like, why don't you be a personal trainer? And I was like, okay. And so I went for that. And at first it was funnily enough, it was pretty selfish. I was like, I'm going to be a personal trainer so I can get all this info, so I can just get big. But the more I've gotten into it, the more gratifying it is just to help people. I love it. It's so gratifying, because I'm not going to take all the credit, but I'm helping people, change their lives, and they're changing their lives themselves. But I love it. I'm actually at my work right now. I'm not working today. I'm working out.
Okay.
That was a little bit of a ramble, my bad, but I got into working out in fitness senior year.
That's cool. Yeah. I tend to pick up a couple weights myself here and there. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my deadlift up. I used to be at,
that's what I just did.
Oh yeah, you do that. Okay. See, I'm trying to get my deadlifts. It's kind of stagnant around like 315. I'm trying to get to like 4 plates, dog. How do I like increase like, the weight in deadlifts?
What do you,
do I have to get bigger in general?
Not necessarily. It's good to be in like an energy surplus. So basically being in a calorie surplus, eating more calories, you're going to have more energy. That helps, but you don't have to. It's ideal, but you don't have to. Basically, there's a lot of different ways to progress. What you probably want to do is just kind of like get used to lifting heavy deadlifts, not super heavy. Like maybe have like once or twice a week, just be lifting like heavy deadlifts, not like, 1 rep max every day, nothing like that.
Right.
But just, you kind of got to get used to lifting that heavy weight, and your muscles are going to get stronger. Again, that's like a summary. There's a ton of different ways to progress, but that would be my recommendation.
Got you. Yeah. And if anybody has any questions, of course, they can hit you up, you know what I'm saying? Give them tips and tricks, maybe sign you up, something like that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Cool. Yeah. So, let's transition into wrestling. So like you said, you got into wrestling and weightlifting around the same time. Is that right? Or
yeah, well, I actually started watching wrestling when I was like 6. I always wanted to be a wrestler, but a lot of times with some wrestlers, they get out of it in their teenage years. That's what happened to me. I grew out of it, I thought.
Yeah. And
then I got back into it senior year. And then that's senior year is when I got into weightlifting.
When that lady left on a
So I was gonna say I got into wrestling young too, and it sometimes it stays with you. Sometimes people fade out of it, but
sure.
It takes a big commitment to actually go into the business and actually want to be one. So where was your financial, like, was it any worry getting into it, like financially or like, motivation wise?
No, it wasn't a worry financially. So basically from the very beginning, when I said, I'm going to do this, I was always like a planner, like here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3. That's everything. But I was like, as soon as I decided I was going to do this, I was like, I'm going to Black and Brave. I'm going to Seth Rollins school. But of course I'm biased. It's the best wrestling school in the world. In my opinion, one of the best wrestlers in the world is the trainer. again, I'm biased, but basically, I lost where I was going with that.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I remember you were talking about how did you specifically see Seth Rollins on TV and was like, I want to go to his gym?
Kinda. I was listening to a podcast, funnily enough, by Lillian Garcia and Chasing Glory podcast, and he was on there talking about his school, and it happened to be in Davenport, Iowa. I was born here. I moved to Texas when I was like 2 with my little sister and my mom. So I grew up in Texas, but it was just kind of a coincidence. I have tons of family up here. Best wrestling school in the world happens to be in my birth town. And it was just kind of like it worked out. And so anyways, that was the plan from the beginning. So I was like, that was another reason for, getting the personal training thing. I needed, money to pay for the school. That's where I was going with it. The school is like so high demand, you can't just pay and then go like 2 weeks later. Basically, like the next class I think open for Black and Brave is probably like 2-3 years from now. Like they have like the classes booked like years in advance.
2 years?
So yeah, 2-3 years in advance. So I did have time to, train in wrestling before I even got to Black and Brave, but I had to save up the money, and I always knew I was going to, and I always knew I could, but I was working and saving up money. It wasn't ever like an issue, but whenever I was able to, it's cool whenever you work for the money yourself and then you get to pay it off and then you see, the results from it. So not a worry financially. But I definitely had to work for it.
Hey, that's awesome. Do you have any, did you get any like kind of, I guess you could say like tips or tricks? Like, did he give you any constructive feedback, like from Seth, like on a one-on-one basis?
Definitely. I learned so much from him. He's just so intelligent. Obviously, multiple time WWE champion.
Very decorated. Very decorated.
Yeah. Very, very, very good, experienced wrestler. Most of what I learned when I went there was psychology. Not to say that I don't learn cool moves here, but they're not. There's a lot of guys here that do cool moves, and we all do cool moves. But that isn't like what I learned. I can do the cool moves, and that's great. And I could before. I can do more now, but it was more like storytelling that I learned here, and that's my biggest takeaway. I always had it kind of in there. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, so I knew some of it, but some of it I was just like, whoa, that's crazy. I never thought of it that way. So Colby's very involved too. My bad. Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins is,
yeah. Colby's very invested in all the students. We regularly after you graduate, there's not like an active like weekly class or anything. It's basically you go in when you want, you work on what you want. But Colby's very like, hey, can I show you a match and can you like critique it with me? He's always down for that with all of the students. Yeah. And he's like, every detail of the match, he's like, okay, so maybe next time do this, or right here, maybe, that doesn't make sense. Here's the transition, or for this story, you should have went this way. Like he's very, really good teacher. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And he's definitely always like, I learned something from every time he talks.
That's awesome. And I was going to say, I was going to pedal back a little bit. You talked about storytelling. What's your take on nowadays? You see big companies like AEW, maybe GCW in some sense. They're more of, they do have storytelling. They do have more methodic pacing to their matches and stuff like that. But what do you feel about all the high spots nowadays that's being glorified on TV? When you go to wrestling training school, they do teach you to work the arm. They do teach you to work the leg, play to the crowd, make sure they, you continue the story that you had a segment in the back, et cetera, et cetera. But now it seems like a lot of times you see a lot of the high spots and that's what gets over, that's what goes viral, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what in turn makes the wrestler. So what's your take on that? Yeah. Do you get a little frustrated about that or what do you think?
Okay, honestly, yeah, I do because again, I can do cool moves. But I know what wrestling is, and I know it's storytelling. And you're right. I mean, a lot of times, I don't envy anybody. I'm not like, he sucks because he can do cooler moves than me. Nothing like that. Yeah. But I've always been a storyteller in high school. I was always a good writer, always like top of my class in writing. So I've always been a storyteller. So I'm very meticulous about my stories, and I make sure my matches make sense and don't just look like gymnastics. And again, I'm not trying to bury anybody.
Yes, no,
I'm not
I
trying to
agree
bury
with
anybody.
you. Yeah, exactly.
But it's a little frustrating, but I know if I continue to do what I do, and I can do cool stuff too. The idea is to do, like, story comes first, and if it makes sense for this high spot or this cool move, put it in. But it shouldn't be the other way around. It shouldn't be like, okay, here's my coolest moves. Let's figure out a way to put these in the match. That's not how you're supposed to set up a match. And, maybe that's how people do set it up, but that's not how I was taught. And that's not, it's kind of like with a story. You don't like go, whenever you're writing a story, whenever people are writing books, I'm pretty sure they're not like, okay, I want freaking a car crash and I want someone to go to space and I want all this random stuff. Okay, now let's make it make sense. No, you have a beginning and you have an end, and you figure out how to tell the story to get there. You know what I mean?
There you go. That's exactly my point. I feel like a lot of times, we do see those, because I think people are wrestling for the Instagram clips. Oh shit, he just lit his leg on fire and kicked him, or he just crashed through the table, all 3 tables. Like, it's cool in the moment, like, we see it, but like, and it's mostly for like local shows and stuff like that to get people to go, whoa, this is crazy, because it's kind of harder to connect with a local crowd if it's just a story. Do you agree with that, or what you think about that? Like, kind of connecting with local audiences on a smaller scale.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Colby talks about that with us all the time. Whenever you're like wrestling in front of a smaller crowd, you want to engage them. So it's not like, in a way, you're kind of still engaging the crowd in front of 40,000 people, but you don't have to like kind of like look at someone in the eyes and like in the crowd and be like, they want to be involved. It's a small crowd. It's a small area. So they want to be part of the show. People are kind of scared to cheer whenever there's like 100 people there. So you got to bring them in. You got to get that intensity, and you got to bring them in and make them feel something. So I would say it's different, and it's definitely a little harder. Not that I've wrestled in front of 40,000 people.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming, but
But yeah. I don't remember your question, to be honest.
No, yeah, I don't either. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was gonna say it's kind of hard to like connect with local audiences. That's a good point you said, because sometimes I go to local shows, especially by myself. Let me tell you, it is tough to go to a local show by yourself and the crowd's more or less dead, and you're like, you want to go, let's go, good guy, but like you don't want to stand out. So it is a little weird on the crowd to try to get that engagement going.
So that's the wrestler's responsibility to make them want to, make them have no choice but to get behind you, or as a heel to be like, dude, that guy sucks. I hate that guy. I have to boo him. You know what I mean? That's like, I think it's really good though to start there. I think it'd be harder to, start like in front of like 40,000 people. It kind of teaches you some really like small stuff that you not necessarily wouldn't learn in WWE, but it gives you like an extra edge, I feel like.
For sure.
Working the smaller independent shows.
Yeah, and speaking of smaller independent shows, I saw you in SCW.
Yes, sir.
Kind of recently. So how's the travel going? I love asking this question. No matter how many people come on the show, I always want to ask, because it's so intriguing to hear about how y'all travel so much. So SCW was like your only show this past weekend, or did I miss anything else?
No. Yeah, I had 2 SCW shows this weekend, so my body hurts. My body definitely hurt. Yeah. Friday night we had a show at a high school, and then the next day, last night, we had a show. It was an outdoor show. Those actually, the SCW shows are like local, so they're connected to Black and Brave.
Nice.
So those are not like far drives at all. Usually, probably the furthest one away is like 40 minutes, which maybe that's a long drive for some people, but whenever you're an independent wrestler, you start to realize driving is like just part of it. And 30-40 minutes is a breeze. So I didn't really have to travel this weekend. One of the shows was literally like I could have walked to it. That was super nice. And then the other show was 10 minutes away. So those are really nice because, if the show ends at 9, 10 o'clock, after you break down the ring and everything, 10:30, 11, you're home. Whenever you're 5 hours away,
yeah,
you know, it takes up a whole day. You get back at 2, 3 a.m. And then the next day, maybe you got work, maybe you got something else to do. But I'm not going to lie. I do not look forward to the drives whenever I'm doing traveling for shows. I'm not going to lie. You know, the show's fun, but it's like, oh, man, this show's 6 hours away. This show's 7 hours away.
Yeah.
So, good question. Some people love the being on the road all the time. I personally don't like just being stuck and not being able to move.
I know, man. Yeah, you got to stretch your leg because you look like you seem to be a tall dude. Like, you know, you cramped up in the SUV or whatever it is.
Exactly.
That's got to be tough. So
yeah.
I don't know how y'all do it, man. That's one thing I got to give y'all respect for. Is just making it to the event. Has there ever been an instance like there's no calling in, right? Like you can't be, man. I can't make it. You can't do that, can you? Or is this gonna be a horrible look or a bad look?
Yeah, I would say sometimes it's a bad look. I mean, you know, sometimes stuff happens. You pop a tire. Sometimes you get sick, and it does suck because you're putting the show in like a bad spot. If it's like last minute and it's like the day of, and you're like, can't make it because then they gotta call somebody else, and you know, usually it works itself out, but usually you do not want to do that. It's kind of like with anything. If you're gonna take a trip for work, you want to give your boss like as much notice as you can so that you don't look like a jerk. You know?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got what you're saying. So, you know, it's all about communication, stuff like that, etc. But I did want to go back to SCW because you were actually tag team champions with a guy named Malik Champion. Very fitting name.
Agree.
You know, so Malik Champion. I went down your page. I noticed he's in a lot of your pictures. So y'all go way back or what?
Way back. So, like I said, I was born here in Davenport. Moved to Texas when I was 2. So, I mean, I'd come up here for summers to visit family and stuff. But my whole life really has been in Texas, aside from these past 2-3 years.
Okay.
When we moved back to Texas, I don't know. I think I was 5. And I moved into the house next to Malik. So we've been neighbors, best friends since we were 5 years old. So he was my next door neighbor up until we moved up here. So, I mean, we've been together my entire life, really. He's like one of the constants of my entire life. Best friend, brother for life. We've been waiting to do this storyline forever. I have personally, you know, me wrestling him. It's cool being a tag team with him, and you know, we're best friends. It's cool. It's tag team, but it's different when you get to like actually work with them in the ring, because technically we're working together as a tag team, but we don't ever get to work each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's like I trust other wrestlers. Other wrestlers are great. I respect other wrestlers, but it's different when it's your best friend. You know, like we don't have to say stuff sometimes. It's really cool being able to work with him finally.
That's cool, and that gives you like good chemistry in the ring, which makes for really good matches. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. We had a match last night. Yeah, I'll be posting some clips and stuff from it, but yeah, and we're kind of doing this feud. I mean, we're not just gonna redo the same match over and over again, but we kind of have this stretch where we're just working together. So it's been definitely a fun time. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this for a good minute now.
Yeah, that's sweet, man. And are y'all gonna be like the Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, like collecting belts everywhere after y'all?
I hope so.
Dissolve y'all differences or anything?
So, like, you know, I definitely want to get into more single stuff and other promotions, and I know it'll happen. But we're also, you know, we're not a tag team in SCW right now, but we got like a tag team booking in like two weeks. You know, we're still tagging in other promotions, so you know, anywhere else is fair game, and definitely we're coming for the goal. We want to be the best tag team that there can be, and I think we're like just improving as a tag team. And I think also, you know, me and him both prefer singles, but you know, a lot of people are either singles or tag. So having both of those up our sleeves is definitely a really, really good thing to have experience wise. And I know that it's going to help us in the long run, just being able to be both, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. So I like what y'all doing like right there. Like as far as, you know, having a friendship from a long time ago and carrying that into the professional wrestling business, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's dope. But do y'all have any big plans, like actually going to nationwide television? Like, you know how like AEW has Elevation, Dark,
Definitely.
NXT Level Up, NXT, WWE. What do y'all? What's the plan on going there? Do you is that an aspiring goal for you to be on TV, or do you want to lay low, kind of like be on more of the independents like MLW, Impact, et cetera, et cetera? What you think?
WWE has always been our goal. My goal for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Always. And you know, maybe it's gonna happen in a month. Maybe it's gonna happen in a year. But that's always been the goal. And it's still the goal. So that's definitely what we're aiming for sure. I know that's like kind of a short answer to it, but definitely WWE 100%. That's where we're shooting for, and that's where we're going.
That's sweet. You know, I believe it. That's awesome. But I hope y'all make it there soon. You know,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
WWE for me, if I was an independent wrestler, I'm just a media guy. So, but if I was an independent wrestler, I would be very intimidated on going to such a big company like that. Not saying y'all can't do it, but there's a lot of steps y'all got to climb going up there. So, you know, it takes a lot of confidence to actually just make that the four-step goal. That's awesome. Huh?
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I'm not even trying to like, you know, diss anybody, but a lot of people kind of won't come out and just say WWE, that's my goal, because I think they're afraid that they're going to fail. And then, you know, people will be like, they didn't do what they said they were going to do. But you just you gotta say that out loud, man. You gotta make it happen. So I'm definitely, you know, that's the goal, and that is going to happen. And it's kind of like manifesting it. But at the same time, I truly do believe that it's going to happen. And you have to believe that it's going to happen. If you just go in halfway, if you just like kind of half commit, and you're like, well, you know, maybe one day if I'm good enough, I'll get there. I mean, maybe you'll make it, but it's a maybe. You know, I have a goal, and I'm going to reach my goal.
There you go. That's awesome. So I'm gonna shoot some rapid fire questions at you real quick.
Okay.
Not too hard, you know what I'm saying? But I was gonna ask, who are your wrestling inspirations growing up and now?
Okay. When I was growing up, I wanted to wrestle like Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio. Those are my two favorite wrestlers. They're probably my top two all time.
Nice.
I wanted it to be them, but now that I'm older, I'm not acting like I'm some big Braun Strowman guy, but I don't necessarily have to do all that. You know what I mean? It's cool. And like I said, I can do some cool stuff, but I don't got to be doing 619s and stuff. You know, I'm 6'1". Yeah. That actually looked kind of funny.
Yeah. You got a longer reach down the rope. They can be down the ropes a little bit more, you know, when you come around.
Yeah. I could be on I could kind of go all the way to the corner and then hit them in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, there you go. You know, something like that.
So now they were my inspirations, and definitely, dude, that is a dream for me. That is something I want to happen too. Working with them, both of them, one of them. I really want that to happen, and I think it's gonna happen. But now, definitely my inspirations, obviously, Seth Rollins, and it's not just because, you know, he's my teacher. He's taught me so much. We actually have very similar body types and builds. Like, we're almost the exact same height. We have, again, very similar athletic builds. So I take a lot of, not steal stuff from him, but I work like him a lot, if that makes sense.
And he's a great worker. Like, as far as like conditioning too, like Falcon Arrow off the top into another suplex. Like, you have to be in peak physical condition to do stuff like that. Like, he's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's kind of like a very similar, not move set, but a similar type of wrestling, because, you know, he'll pull out the cool high spots, the cool flips and stuff from the top ropes, but he doesn't do it all the time. And
he saves it.
Yeah, it depends who he's working with. Like, he doesn't do that. He doesn't need to do a Phoenix Splash on Rey Mysterio. I don't think he would do that. It doesn't really make sense. He's gonna, if someone's smaller than him, he's gonna work like he's the big guy, and that's what I do. And if, you know, someone's bigger than me, I will pull out some of the cooler high spot stuff. But I can do both, and we have very, similar body types, similar builds. So right now, Colby's my number one inspiration. Pretty generic answer for him being my coach, but
nah, that's sick. I dig it. Next thing I was gonna ask, what's your current interest theme?
Sorry.
What's your current entrance theme?
So my friend made it a couple of years ago. It's not something you can find on Spotify. It's like this. He took this song called "Come to Jesus," and it was my idea. I'm not like taking all the credit. He made it, but he basically took this, old church, not really a choir song, but almost like something you would find in the hymnals in the pews. Yeah. It's like one of those songs, and he took it and it starts like that, and then he chopped it up and kind of made it like cool and trappy. That's what it is right now. I would play it for you, but I don't think I can with you on the camera. I mean, there's actually, I could probably send it to you right after we're done.
Yeah, send it to me. I'm down to listen to it. Yeah, I'm down to listen to it.
And I'm working on something else, actually. That's a cool song, but I have another idea for a new one. The guy who walked behind me a couple minutes ago in the red shirt, that's Ty. He's one of my buddies. He's helping me make the new song. It's going to be similar, as in like for my character, it's going to involve, the religious aspects, but it's going to sound a little different. And I think it's going to match what I'm going for just a little bit more. I'm very meticulous. I kind of already said that, but
yeah,
my current theme I'll send you, and then I've got a new one coming soon too.
Awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. And one more little rapid fire question I have for you: if you could pick any big man to wrestle against, like of all time, past or present, with us or without us, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't ever actually thought about that.
Big man.
I think the Undertaker qualifies as a big man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm doing Undertaker. I think that'd be really cool too, because I know, like, we haven't really talked a ton about my my character that I'm doing right now, but it's almost like the antithesis of the Undertaker. It's really funny, actually. Undertaker was this basically demon devil thing, and he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, I'm the 13th disciple. I'm God's chosen, not a weapon. I'm his messenger, but I'm a bad guy. So it's like, it's flip. And I think that would work. That'd be really cool. I mean, he's retired, maybe not. You never know.
Man, never say never.
Yeah, never say never, man. Rest in peace, maybe.
yeah. If I feel like it.
Definitely, that would be my number one guy I would want to face. Plus, he's one of the, if not the biggest star in wrestling ever. So that would be insane. That would be super cool.
For sure, man. For sure. And before we get off, I do want to give you some time to kind of like explain kind of like your character, because that's true. I do want to ask, how does faith play into your role as a wrestler and character?
How does faith play into it? So basically, my character is actually it's almost a commentary on, we're going to get deep here real quick, but it's a commentary on basically, modern Christianity and basically the ugly side of Christianity, honestly. The parts that are hypocritical and the parts that, are something a heel would do, the judgment. And there's so much to this character, and every single, part of this character I've thought about. And it's nothing I do with this character is just random,
Good.
But how does faith play a role into it? When I actually, created this character, I created it when I came up here, when I initially moved here for Black and Brave. And at the time, I was like a devout Christian, and not in like this, like, I put a Bible verse in my bio, so I'm a Christian. No, I was like, definitely that was part of me. And I definitely still believe in a spiritual, in a God, and someone had to create this. There's no way.
Oh yeah, but sure. I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah, but I have an open mind, and so how does faith play a role into it? I don't have a denomination. I don't have a religion I claim. But at the time that this character was created, I had intentions. I had faith in mind. There was definitely versions of this character that were like more of a tweener. Like some people might like me, some people might hate me. Because I had some more what's the word? I had some more elements to the character that were likable and cool. But now I'm just like, tweeners are okay, they're fine, they're cool, but it kind of confuses the crowd sometimes. So I'm just all in. I'm the bad guy. Yeah. I'm a heel, and I love it. I'm excited because it's been almost 2 years since this character was originally created, and I'm getting to dive into it.
That's sweet. So you know what I'm saying? I'm looking for more of what you put out with this character, and more of what you come out with whoever it is, whether it be Malik Champion or whatever you do in the local scene. I know I'm probably gonna see you soon on maybe like an AEW Dark Elevation or like a WWE NXT for sure. That's a huge goal, and I'm really behind you on that, because a lot of people, like I said, are intimidated about that. But I've seen your work. You're awesome in the ring, very fluid. Like I could tell the Seth Rollins style, very meticulous, very careful about what you do and who you work against. So that's awesome. So
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
That's tight. Yeah. And so Eric Eznite, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, do you have anything else you want to get off before we head out of here? Is there anything upcoming events coming up, or anything you want to plug?
Honestly, not really any events. If you're wanting to be a pro wrestler watching this, Black and Brave is the place to be. As far as learning the right way to wrestle technically and storytelling wise, there's no better place. And like I said, you might be booked 2 years out, but it's worth the wait. And there's not a better place. So not only that, we're a family of Black and Brave. It's really, really cool. I've met and made so many friends through the school. So I'll plug the school, Black and Brave Wrestling Academy, BXB, forever. I don't know that I really have anything else, kind of talking about goals and dreams, you've got to go for it. So I had a goal to go to college and do this, that, and the other, but I just threw it out the window, and I want to do what makes me happy, and that's what I'm doing. And you got to do that, and you got to be selfish in that aspect, and you got to chase your dream. You don't want to grow up and you don't want to be like, man, I wish I would have done that. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. There you go. Do this for you, and enjoy your life. And that's what I got, man.
Man, that's beautiful. Eric Eznite, ladies and gentlemen, that's been it. That's been another episode of Digital Suplex Radio. Catch the replay of this on YouTube, or you can follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's been Eric. It's been me, Darian, and stick a fork in it. We are done.
You are now listening to Digital Suplex Radio.